Hi, I'm Raluca Radulescu. I'm a professor of medieval literature here at Bangor University and the director of the Centre for Arthurian Studies and of the Arthurian MA. The MA in Arthurian Studies has been running here at Bangor University for over 20 years, but also before that for nearly 40. It is a very international programme that brings together expertise in Arthurian studies, in Celtic studies, in Welsh history, and it's really grounded in the legends and the land. Here in Bangor, we are not only based in the place where the legends originated, but we also utilise our expertise in a number of fields, including in English literature, in Welsh literature, medieval to modern, Welsh history, heritage, publishing. So we're looking at the global phenomenon that the Arthurian myth has become, and we're looking at different translations in different languages, from French, German, Italian, and way beyond, up to the modern novel and indeed modern media. The MA in Arthurian Studies at Bangor is special because it brings together not only the expertise of those who teach it, but also those who research different aspects of the legend. My own interest in the legend stems from my expertise in medieval English literature, in particular the chronicle aspects, how Arthur was talked about in the medieval chronicle known as the Brut, going all the way back to the mythical founder of Britain, talked about by Geoffrey of Monmouth in his Historia Regum Britanniae, Brutus, and how the Arthurian story brings together different strands of a national myth and a national story about conquest, but also of civilization, of bringing courtly values to this part of the world. I'm interested in that, as well as in the work of Sir Thomas Malory, the 15th century author who wrote during the Wars of the Roses, and how his text, Le Mort d'Arthur, The Death of Arthur, provides the one single long prose account of the rise and fall of the Round Table under the leadership of King Arthur. In other words, being the longest text in the English language from the Middle Ages that influences generations of writers and readers and is owned and enjoyed for centuries up to the 21st. So my own expertise is in the work of Sir Thomas Malory, the 15th century author who brought together different strands of the Arthurian story into one long prose account in the English language, which has become, to the present day, one of the most popular and enduring versions of the Arthurian myth. In particular, I can work here at Bangor University, and the students I teach can use the collections, including this example of the last early modern printed edition of Le Mort d'Arthur from 1634, printed by William Stansby in London. It is an example of a late, one might say, edition of the 15th century text. So in the 17th century we still have the Gothic type, the black letter, alongside utilising a woodcut introduced first by Wynkyn de Worde, William Caxton's apprentice, for the printing of Le Mort d'Arthur. Alongside that, I'm really interested in the publishing history of Arthurian texts, be they of Malory's Mort d'Arthur or other ones, including, for example, stories or antiquarian interest in the historicity of Arthur, so the reprinting or the printing and editions of Gildas and Nennius in the early 16th century. We have an example here from the Flintshire Harris collection, or indeed beautiful examples of the golden age of illustration and of publishing history. Le Mort d'Arthur reprinted in the early 20th century with its original woodcuts from Wynkyn de Worde, but in modern type, or indeed exploring how in the 18th century Charles Bertram not only printed Gildas and Nennius in his efforts to inscribe himself in the history of Arthurian studies as an antiquarian, but he also forged a text about King Arthur and put his name into the book as the editor of these texts. There are several special things about studying in Bangor for an Arthurian MA, and definitely one that comes to mind is being part of a community of scholars who enjoy being in the locations where the Arthurian myth came into being, where it was written down, and working alongside those who specialize, whether it is Celtic archaeology, Celtic legend and myth, Welsh medieval history, or indeed the publishing history of these books. At Bangor University, we hold one of the most important collections of Arthurian books in the UK and in Europe. And we're very lucky to have this collection for our use on the MA and with our PhD students. In particular, I'd like to highlight the fact that we constantly work with the community, we get donations, and we organise a number of events that involve our students in contact with the latest research in the field. We have events that our students get involved in, whether they present their research, whether they're part of an international reading group, as we are at the moment, or whether they help with various exhibitions or community engagement events. There are plenty of opportunities to develop not only academic skills, perhaps publish in the Journal of the International Arthurian Society, or indeed to develop skills in relation to a future profession, a future job, be it in heritage, in the media, or something else that is related. In other words, what we do at Bangor University, we provide a very full and complex education that prepares you for the world. The world of today involves not just knowing how to read and analyze these texts and how to enjoy how myth goes on and inspires. It is also about providing this enduring legacy as a fruitful avenue for further reading and further research, whether it is by the young in children's fictions or whether it is by the general public, be it in film or in journalism. The Arthurian MA at Bangor University provides all of these opportunities and much more.